Getting back to the 2003 TMNT show this week, let's talk about Darkness on the Edge of Town, an episode that I found extremely underwhelming. Not that it was bad, the personalities of the characters were a little more distinct here than they have been in past episodes, which is a thing I've been looking for, and the action was good, and it furthered the stuff with the Foot Clan and the Shredder, and it seems like the two sides are going to be fully in the know about each other relatively soon. But overall, this episode, it felt like it didn't do anything, which is weird. It's weird to say that about an episode that accomplished the things that I just said it accomplished. But it felt like it didn't do anything. Like, I have no doubt that whatever events finally bring these two sides directly in conflict so that they fully understand who each other are could have happened without this episode. Like, at the end of this episode, the Shredder decides that he must eliminate whoever the Turtles are. He doesn't know who they are yet, but he must eliminate them. They've gotten in his way one too many times now. But he could have decided that after the last time. And the episode does center around him first using his foot soldiers to steal a sword, and then using the sword to try to locate artifacts, which are from the same origin as, apparently, his armor, which we still haven't seen in detail. I'm looking forward to the reveal of that, because I don't remember this Shredder's design very well, but I do remember I liked it, right? And by the end, the Turtles have recovered that sword themselves, and it's being stored in the lair now, which I imagine will come into play later. But I still think that probably could have been tacked onto another plot. So while this episode does further a plot line in a way that I would have liked that plot line to be furthered, I don't know that we needed this one. And I say that not because the episode wasn't at all enjoyable, but because by the time the episode was over, the sheer degree by which it fell flat in a lot of areas, in my mind at least, overrode how enjoyable it otherwise was. Like, the episode starts with the Turtles doing extreme sports stuff through the lair, which is fine, it's a thing they do, but they're, like, actively disturbing Splinter's lifestyle by doing this, when they have a whole other sewer to do this stuff in. Usually, when you see them doing extreme sports stuff, they're doing it in the tunnels, outside of the lair. It was weird to see him here, and to see Splinter's life being upturned by this. I expected the episode to... I don't know, it's not like the episodes need to be message show episodes, right? That's not necessary, but I expected the characters to learn something in this about being more selective with where they do this kind of thing. And that never comes up, even when the power goes out in the lair. So they head topside to try to find the source of the power outage, which they never found. It's implied that maybe it was the Foot so they could work under the cover of darkness. But that's not part of their usual MO. But instead of looking for the Foot, they start doing extreme sports stuff on the streets because it's dark enough that the details of their features can't be made out, so they can be a little more public right now. And you would expect this to have some consequences. Like, they're ninja, working in the shadows is their thing, and that's technically what they're doing, but these are shadows that they can't control. These are shadows that they didn't choose. It should be acknowledged that there's a danger of those shadows just suddenly disappearing and exposing them for what they are. That this was reckless and stupid. But instead, they just happen to see the Foot breaking into the museum to steal that sword. And then they go into the museum after the Foot, and instead of leading them away, they start doing extreme sports stuff in the museum and cause a bunch of collateral damage. To, like, I'm assuming priceless artifacts. And that's never acknowledged either. And then at the end of the episode, when we see that the Foot have plugged the sword into this big sonic cannon thing so that they can use its ability to sense other weird, I know what they are, they're Utron artifacts, over greater distances and more efficiently, the Turtles attack it, because it's still dark enough for them to mostly hide who and what they are. They attack it, and again, they cause collateral damage, which causes this thing to go out of control, and it almost damages a bunch of stuff, and it almost explodes in the Turtles' faces, and they almost don't get the sword back. Which I'm assuming is going to end up being a vital clue to whatever's going on. Whatever the ongoing plot is. And it's never acknowledged. Like, they managed to stop it from freaking out and recover the sword anyway, but only by the skin of their teeth, and it takes them so long that they're almost discovered. Like, it's great that they managed to come together well enough to not lose the sword and not be discovered. But if they had taken things just slightly more slowly and been a little more careful and a little more cautious and planned things out just a little bit better, they wouldn't have had to worry about that. But at the same time, the episode keeps rewarding them for making these reckless decisions. They wouldn't have noticed the foot breaking into the museum if they hadn't made a reckless decision. I don't know what this episode is trying to say to me. Stuff just happens and there are seemingly no consequences, except that good-ish things happen to the good guys and bad-ish things happen to the bad guys. Like, nothing that these characters did actively contributed to that outcome. It just happened. And that bums me out. That, in my opinion, makes for a bad episode of television. Again, it's not awful. There are definitely things to like here. Like, there's another really technical sword fight scene that I really liked. It's very brief again, but I really liked it. And the animation on the extreme sports stuff, despite how much I didn't like how it was used in the story, looked good. The animation in this one was really solid. It's just the story that let me down. Everything else about the episode was good. It's just the story that let me down. And, I mean, this is a TV show. I watch it for the story. I think it's worth noting overall, we're 6 episodes in now. I've gotten my first impressions of this show. And they're extremely mixed. They're way more mixed than I remember them being when I was a kid watching this. It's not a bad show by any stretch. But even within TMNT, I think there are better shows than this. And that's unfortunate, and you guys have said that it does get much better as it goes. And I'm expecting that to be true and looking forward to when it happens. So, we'll keep plowing forward with these reviews until we get there. All that said, though, guys, I don't feel like I need to talk about this episode anymore. I think I've made my point and drove it into the ground and then beat it like a dead horse for like 4 more minutes than I actually needed to. So what did you guys think of anything that I said in this video? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. And if you are a fan of this show, when do you think it picks up? Not because I'm going to rush to that point, but just because I'm curious. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else who you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't. You can also check out links to my various social medias, as well as the many ways you can help out the channel. Those will be in the video description, but either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.